Hey everyone, my name is Sean Cecil from the Oculus Institute, and today I'm going to address the issue of social paranoia in the workplace. Okay, so over the past couple months, I've had some people in my audience on various Facebook threads say things like, well, you know, no matter where I go, which job I go to, people just hate me. They're just mean to me. Or, you know, my boss hated me because I was too productive and I was getting too much done and I made her look bad and that's why she fired me, right? Or things like this. And I'm gonna raise the BS flag on this. I'm not saying that it's a 0% possibility because anything's possible, but the frequency with which I've heard it and the tone with which it has come through has raised some red flags for me. So I wanted to have a little come to Jesus talk with you all, because if you are in this social victim mentality, everybody hates me, everybody's judging me for being good, everybody's mean to me for no reason, any of this kind of stuff, chances are you're missing the big picture. So I'm just gonna kind of flesh things out here. So one example that I had of somebody was, he's like, well, you know, everybody's mean to me and then I lose my temper because they're being mean to me and then they're meaner to me. And it's like, well, you know, if you're losing your temper on people, don't be surprised if you're getting into conflicts, right? Like there's a degree of, and that's the theme for this whole video, is there's a degree of self-awareness and social awareness that's necessary to function in a workplace. I once had a mentor who said, I've never seen somebody fired for being bad at their job, but everybody I've seen fired has been fired because they couldn't get along with other people. Now, that's not true. I've seen people be fired for being bad at their jobs, but it is true that the majority of the time someone's fired, it's because they can't get along with other people, right? And so if you have a short fuse and you snap at people and you're like, oh, well, if people would just leave me alone, then we wouldn't have this problem, right? And this kind of stuff. You're being a grumpster. Don't be surprised if you get fired. Don't be surprised if people resent you, right? On the opposite end of that spectrum is you have people with anxiety, right? And you know, they're constantly nervous and they're constantly, you know, worried about stuff, and they would never snap at somebody because that's too scary. But that also is going to draw in conflict. And the reason that's going to draw in conflict is because of a thing called emotional contagion. So human beings can sense the emotions of other people. And if you're stressed, they can feel it, and it doesn't feel good to them. Human beings want to be around people who make them feel good. So if you're feeling good, then now they feel good, they want to be around you. If not, then they don't want to be around you. And they're not even necessarily going to be consciously thinking about it. They're just going to be like, oh, I don't like that person. I don't want to be around that person. And that's going to generate all kinds of actions. And that could range anywhere from somebody just being a bully because they have low self-esteem, just like, you know, schoolyard bullies, to people just like not including you and stuff, right? And a lot of people, they try to be externally really pleasant and really like, you know, charming and take care of everybody and all this kind of stuff. But like inside there's anxiety, and they think that by being like externally pleasant that they're masking their internal anxiety, but they're not, right? Human beings are reading the body language, and they can sense that something's off. They can sense that there's anxiety and they don't like it. It feels uncomfortable to them. And it doesn't even feel congruent with how this person's engaging. So that's another level of disharmony. So that's weird. And, like, and then people just, you know, they react to that accordingly. Another issue that I've seen with stuff is people who have difficulty setting boundaries. So they'll be like, oh, well, my boss is a narcissist. They expect me to do this and this and this and this and this and this. And like, they haven't thought about this in my life and blah, 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 blah. Okay, sure. And then I'll ask them, okay, so have you had a discussion with your boss from a calm place about where these boundaries are? Well, no, because they wouldn't react well to that. And it's like all these kinds of assumptions. And now they're projecting all these thoughts in these other people's head. They're drawing no boundaries, right? And so then their boss, you know, because he's not aware of any boundaries, right? And he's just gonna try to utilize this resource to the maximum capacity they can. He's like, oh, they're a great worker, they're doing all this stuff. Until the point where this person who now has not set boundaries is now overworked and begins to become grumpy. And now there's all this passive aggressive shit. And they may not even realize that they're being passive aggressive. And now their boss starts to, you know, resent the passive aggressive stuff. And the relationship goes downhill because of their trouble setting boundaries and their codependency and their projecting other people's thoughts into their heads, right? And then on the opposite side of that spectrum is if you have somebody who sets boundaries that are too tight socially, where they don't engage with their colleagues, like, hey, I'm just here to work. I'm not here to talk to anybody, but I don't want to be friends with anybody, like all that kind of stuff. Human beings naturally want to be friends with people that they're close to, and they're going to form social groups. And if you are not a part of that social group, then don't be surprised if they're favoring people in that social group. Is that the best way to run a company? No, it's not. Is that the best way to operate in life? No, going off merit is the best way to operate in life. But that's how human beings work. And so if you don't want to be social, if you don't want to make friends, like, there are going to be career consequences for that, right? That's just part of social dynamics. And so I've seen people where, they're like, hey, well, I don't go out to any events and I don't hang out with people and all this kind of stuff. And then they're like, well, now they're just, forming a clique or whatever. Yeah, they are. Is that good? No, it's not. But even if you don't want to be spending all your time hanging out with them, you could take a genuine interest in people. You could really ask about the family and things that matter to them. You could show that you care, when you're having lunch at work or whatever. And they can still be like, hey, we may not be best friends, but that guy's a good guy, right? And that kind of stuff. You can still build relationships with people without putting up these like hard social boundaries. So, ultimately, a lot of this stuff where people are talking about being bullied and narcissists and this and that, I'm not saying that there aren't bad actors in various workplaces, but the first place you should be starting is your own self-awareness and social awareness, rather than immediately jumping and blaming other people, especially if you found yourself in this situation more than once, right? It's one thing if it's at one job, but if you found yourself in these similar kinds of situations 2, 3, 4, 5 times, what's the common pattern there? Hate to break it to you, but there's no way that you're going to be able to get out of this pattern and get out of being stuck unless you take a hard look at the real cause. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's something that resonated with you, maybe a new connection that you made or some information that shifted your perspective, if you found value here, then I want to give you one last gift. So I've put together a free diagnostic that I call a checkup with the career doctor. Short list of questions, and as you answer them, it's going to give you a readout of where you stand on the important metrics of career fulfillment, right? How happy are you with your job and how good a fit is it, right? Financial success, which we all know, and then internal alignment, which is your level of inner peace and the inner resources that you have to bring to creating the life that you want. Additionally, it's also going to show you which areas you can improve on to get those metrics moving in the right direction, as well as how can we at the Oculus Institute help you make progress. So it's totally free, 100%. All you have to do is just go to www.oculusinstitute.com/purpose quiz, right? No spaces, no dashes, just oculusinstitute.com. That's OCULUSINSTITUTE.com/purpose quiz. And you can take it totally for free. You'll get a free report sent to you. And then at the end, it will give you some next steps of what you can do to reach out so that we can help you create the career of your dreams.